Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the markets as well as recent buys that we did and some technical analysis on Bitcoin, the Nasdaq, TSLL, and the swing trades that we just did. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so the first thing I want to cover here is the Nasdaq. So I told you guys before that we were looking pretty oversold. Okay, we have this huge long trend line here, right? This thing is actually quite ridiculous how deep it went. Very perfect looking textbook downtrend for a nice break of the trend line. Pointed out a double bottom here with some potential, if I can get this MACD up here, some potential triple bullish divergence, right? Price going down, MACD and RSI moving up while the price is getting ready to bottom out with this nice little double bottom. We got to break the trend line. And then we confirmed it now by moving above this structure point right about here, okay? So that would be major structure. We obviously came back, retested. You can see with this wick right here, and then boom, popped off. That obviously the wick bouncing off that previous resistance level that points out to you guys this is a legitimate level, okay? Next level is going to be all the way up at the top here at 20,100, so we should be heading there pretty quickly. Now, I'm aware that the FOMC is coming up in a couple of days. To be honest, I'm not really expecting a whole lot from Jerome Powell and from the Fed members. Not this meeting anyways, maybe next meeting in May. We might get a little bit more insight into what kind of their ideas are. I'm basically expecting no rate cut. I'd love to be pleasantly surprised. I'd love to be wrong, trust me. But yeah, realistically not expecting much from them. So anyways, we got the golden cross, creating higher highs, higher lows, broke structure, broke the downtrend line, got the double bottom, got all three golden crosses, so it looks good. So what we did is we did exactly what we told you guys we were going to do, which was we stopped buying GPIC. Now, don't get me wrong, GPIC is still extremely cheap. I do still think it's a steal to buy right now. It's just we told you guys that when it looked like the markets were going to start moving back up, that was going to be the time that we were going to switch to a different position, which we are doing, or I should say we have done, and that is triple QT, okay? So this one pays about 32 cents a month. It's supposed to sit right around $20. You can see we're barely down. I mean, this is essentially nothing. So again, basically just bought 12 shares here at $17. It's relatively cheap. And again, when the markets march back to all-time highs, at some point we should get a nice recovery. It should go back to at least somewhere between 19 to 20 bucks, which, you know, again, at that point would still provide a pretty solid total return. So the goal, once again, is to get up to 50 bucks a month in each one of these positions that pay dividends on a monthly or weekly basis at a minimum for every position we're in. So that's the NASDAQ and the triple QT, which we're going to keep buying for the rest of the week, unless for whatever reason the NASDAQ decides it wants to go back down to the downside to lower lows. In that case, we will go back to buying GPIC because it just doesn't make sense not to. So I want to talk a little bit about TSLL and Tesla. So it does appear maybe, and this is very subtle, it's actually quite hard to see unless you've been doing this for a while. It can be difficult to be able to see these. Okay, but we have a very slight, very, very slight bullish divergence going on here, potentially price going down, right? MACD, RSI is starting to slowly go up. We got the same setup, so nice little trend line here, a potential bump and run. Okay, you get your trend down and then boom, straight drop off. We should smack against the trend line and then smash to the upside if this pattern is to play out. We'll go over what the bump and run pattern actually is in a later video. But once we get the break of the trend line, that should send it quite a bit higher. And based on this macro trend line here, you can see this big long one over here. We should probably, and that sits right kind of along that structure there. You can see the top of those red candles. It's probably going to be right around where the bears are going to be looking maybe to try to short again, somewhere around that $14.70 to $15, which is actually above our cost basis as of right now. So the other thing I wanted to point out about TSLL is this thing is still massively oversold on the daily. We're starting to get a potential golden cross here on the MACD. Also bullish divergence on the RSI and the price. And I mean, it still looks pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie, but it looks like maybe we might have hit the bottom here because again, this is some pretty major support that we're currently bouncing off of with that wick there. You can see on the weekly time frame, we double tapped the lower end of this range twice, then bounced here, and then boom, took off like a rocket, and then we retested with a wick. And then the question is, what happens next, right? So based on everything in the charts and the fact that this thing is down from peak to trough 83%, and 7 weeks of red at this point, I would say the likelihood is that we are going to go up. But again, there's no guarantees. Maybe we go a little bit deeper into the green zone. It's hard to say at this point. So my money is personally on a movement to the upside. I think that's coming sooner rather than later. Same thing with Tesla, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down. This is actually unheard of as far as I know. I don't think Tesla's ever had 7 weeks of red straight ever in its history. You can look over here and see that on the way down there was some green. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, or 6 weeks technically of red in a row, but we never had 7. So and that only happened once. So there is also this trend line here. So if we hold this, I mean, this is a pretty significant trend line, then, we should theoretically at least go back up to maybe somewhere around 320. That remains to be seen, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for that one. So I'll go over we'll go over the positions in the portfolio here in a minute. But the next thing I wanted to cover real quick before I forget is the swing trades. So basically we took profit on, looks like QUBT this morning. So it did have a nice move up. We figured that was going to be the case. That's exactly what QBTS did. And yeah, so you can see it had a gap up and then it pushed up and we took profit. So it went above the profit target. We took profit about 20% off the table on top of the cost basis. And then we moved that money into this one, QMCO. So in my opinion, QUBT and QMCO, this is still relatively early for these ones. QUBT, I'd be waiting for a pullback at least maybe somewhere around $7.72 down to $7, because again, we are kind of hitting that bear zone right here. But the next level above this would be at 11.30. That's the next major level, kind of around 11.30 all the way up to 12.30. If you got to pull back into this area and then rode it all the way up there, it'd be 63% gain. Again, by the time this triple golden cross fully plays out, we might get a retest of it, kind of come up, retest as the EMAs are moving up, price is moving down, and then boom, pop to the upside. This one's still relatively early. I would say it's actually, even now, it's still pretty early to get into this one, but you guys, of course, are free to do what you want. So we took profit off of the QUBT. We spread the money out evenly between all these. Okay, so it's $1,300 per trade. So this one $1,300, then we added $150 into this one, and this one, which I'm going to go show you guys right now. So let me go over TSLL real quick. We bought a little bit early in the morning, 10 shares early in the morning, and then we kind of were like, well, let's wait and see what it's going to look like for the rest of the day. And it turns out waiting until later was actually a smart move because the markets did actually go lower after that point. And again, buying as cheap as possible is always the key, right? So 4 hours ago, you can see here we bought 10 shares at $8.33 and then again at $8.24. So it wasn't much cheaper, but still cheaper nonetheless. The average cost right now, $13.18 per share and $9.60. The options premiums aren't much because, again, Tesla is kind of, well, you guys saw it on the 4-hourly time frame, I think. So Tesla and TSLL are actually kind of just bobbing sideways at this point. They're not really doing much. So you can see it right here. It's just going sideways. Again, when we're not getting extreme moves in one direction or the other, options premiums are going to be a little bit less than they usually are. So got to wait for the momentum to pick back up to actually start making some real money. So I'll show you guys QUBT real quick. And again, we posted this on X. If you guys saw this on X, you would have been early. But QUBT, you can see we just opened the trade on the 14th, and it literally only took a day, not even a day, for this to play out. So got in at 672, got out at 805. That is a roughly about a $290 profit, or about 20%. So moving down the list here, we can go down to QMCO, which is the new one. And again, kind of the thought process here is that we're just going to have everything even across the board in each trade, and then it'll just compound on itself over time. So we have 72 shares here at $17.89, and of course the stock has gone up quite a bit. It's up 8% as of right now. I could take profit on this right now or wait, but again, the goal is always a minimum of 15%. So again, I do still think this stock is going to go much, much higher in the following days. It just started this golden cross setup, and usually when the golden cross plays out like it really plays out, I mean, you could see anything from easily like a 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe even over 100% gain on some of these runs. It's absolutely crazy, some of the stuff you'll see with these. Okay, so next one here, ALT. So you can see we're only down a little bit. It has made a nice little recovery. Not too shabby at this point. So bought a little bit more here, 26 shares at 568, which is much, much, much lower than the first purchase that we made. So again, just kind of averaging down here slowly and holding the position over time until eventually it plays out. So next one here, Fate. So this one is, I mean, it's come down quite a bit. So we added once, then we added twice below $1. So 159 shares at 94 cents. So as of right now, still down quite a bit, unfortunately, but not really too concerned about this. This is basically a micro penny stock. I mean, it could easily move 30, 40% in a day to the upside. Again, the smaller the market cap, the larger the move. That's also true in crypto. So there's the total shares and the cost basis. And last but not least here, APLD. Do keep in mind that I believe NVIDIA just took a position in APLD. The last time we saw this was SoundHound, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty bullish in itself. I mean, if NVIDIA is involved, you already know this thing's probably going to rocket at some point. So because SoundHound from the lows of, I think it was like lows of $2 went up to $24. So that's a 12x, right? So we should see the same thing here. So bought once here and then bought again twice at an even lower price. So initially 1019, then 815, then 703. So 21 shares at basically 703. And that's what it looks like as of right now. So this is all the positions for the day. I did say we were going to cover Bitcoin, so let's go over that a little bit. I also do want to point out that these stocks above the 50-day, even though we're seeing some green, are still relatively low. So if you guys are looking for cheap discount buys, it doesn't matter what you're into, whether it's crypto, dividend ETFs, options, whatever, everything is extremely cheap for the bulls right now. And if you're a bull and you're looking to pick up at cheap prices, now may be time to consider it. Okay, so Bitcoin, again, on lower time frames, very similar to what was it? TSLL and I forget what the other one was. We just talked about the Nasdaq. So we're seeing some bullish divergence playing out here on the RSI MACD and the price. So we could also, funnily enough, very similar to the Nasdaq, we might also be seeing a double bottom here. That's also a possibility. So very potentially bullish looking setup. It looks like it might be about to rip. We'll just have to wait and see on this one. So smaller time frames looking quite bullish. Got the golden cross on the MACD. Again, bullish divergence on the daily time frame. Haven't quite played above the EMAs yet on the daily time frame. Again, I still want to see a break of this yellow trend line up here. Until we get that, I'm not fully convinced we're going to all-time highs yet. But it does appear maybe, just maybe, this $77,000 level that I told you guys about back here is actually going to be the bottom. Again, really don't know if that's the case yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Once we get a break above this yellow trend line, now currently sitting at about 99,000, with a candle close or a couple of candle closes, at that point I'd be willing to say, okay, this really was the bottom, and now we really potentially are going back to all-time highs. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.